Okay,
Hey, Eddie.
I just coughed while you were coming to Discord.
What'd you say?
I just coughed when you came to Discord. Like
Oh no.
you came
Do
in
we
and I
have
was
to
like,
do it again?
sorry.
So,
Hey Leo.
I hear you know a thing or two about movies, right?
Yeah, you too, right?
Uh huh.
Uh
Yeah, a
huh. We know
bit.
some things about movies.
So, yeah, I recently it's actually been posted on September 8th, same year, 2020, that the Academy Awards of all places established a new representation and inclusion standards for Oscars eligibility. Have you heard about it?
Yes, exactly, and this is very interesting, actually.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's brand new and it's not set to take place next year for the 2021 edition, but it's supposed to take full effect in 2024 at the 96th Oscar ceremony.
exactly, and at first I thought it was a little bit too late, like really, really late. But I think it's because of the fact that some movies can take multiple years to be done, to get
Yeah,
entirely finished. So I kind of understand
absolutely. Yeah,
why
yeah.
it's
They
it
need
will take place in
and also
2025.
writing. Don't forget.
Yeah,
Writing can take several years.
yeah,
So
exactly. And it's even more relevant when you see the kind of standards that the film, the current film that I think the current film that are in production right now needs to fill to get to the Oscar. So yeah, let's talk about that, Leo. Let's talk about that. This is very interesting, and it's
yeah, we should probably do a bit of a maybe a short resume of a short
yeah, a short summary of
explanation of
the
what's going to be
yeah, yeah,
required
a
because
little
that's actually
summary.
pretty big and pretty important.
Yeah,
So in so in 2024, a film, if the film wants to be eligible for the Oscar, they have to meet two of four new Academy standards. So there are four of them. They're listed on their website, and it's usually it has to do with on-screen representation, the leadership and the project team, also in regards of inclusion of various racial or ethnic group. Mainly, they're always the same. It's Asian, Hispanic, African American, Indigenous, Native, Middle Eastern, North African, Native Hawaiian, and other underrepresented race or ethnicity. It's also about women, LGBTQI+, and people with cognitive or physical disabilities. It's aimed at including more of those people inside of our film, inside of the films that deem to be eligible for an Oscar. Okay.
yeah, it's about a hell of a person actually.
Yeah, it's about actually. Yeah, it's about a lot of underrepresented groups, and they are doing this in order to have more of those people, more of those groups inside of the films. I mean, as in front of the camera as well as behind the camera, of course. And it's everything is listed on their websites.
Yeah,
And
so if you want to have more
when you learned
information,
about this, I don't know when you actually learned about this. When I talked about
oh,
it
you
via
said it
text
to
or
me. Didn't even see it online before you talked to me about it.
yeah. And what was your initial reaction towards the
Yeah,
whole thing?
that's an interesting question. That's an interesting question. Well, first I thought it was kind of coherent with the path that the Oscars are taking in the past couple of years. Most of the time there's a lot of movies and a lot of persons that are presenting the Oscars that talk about representation. There were some subjects about Black Lives Matter. There were some things about racism, discrimination in all its forms. So it's coherent. It's coherent, but it's right now it's a big deal. Like most of the time before, it was more little things, and it wasn't really something that the Oscars kind of, put down on paper
Yeah,
as
it wasn't really
important
official.
rules. Yeah, it
It was deemed
it was never
important, but it wasn't
officialized.
official.
Exactly. And so now that it's done, I feel like it's kind of in balance, because I think, like always, it's about quota, and
Quotas, yeah.
about quotas. Yeah, sorry, about quotas, and about quotas. I'm always like, of course, it's a good thing, because every little step forward about inclusivity and things is important, even if it's not perfect. But I'm not sure about all of the standards that the Oscars have chosen, and especially I'm not sure about whether or not it's going to be useful, because I feel like most of the standards can be easily duck, if you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah,
if
yeah, I see what you mean. Convoluted or
yeah,
like bent.
yeah, exactly. If
It's
you
easily bent.
if you want if some movie crews don't really want to make efforts but still wants to be on the Oscar, I think have they will find a
You
way
think
to
this will
bend
be
the
possible?
standards.
You think
Yeah.
there is a runaround, a loophole even?
Yeah. I think they will find one. But
Yeah,
even
I
though,
agree with you.
even though, I think what I really like the most about those standards is that it's really precise, and I think that's a strength, because most of the time quotas are just like, yeah, we need like one black character in a movie. Yes, super quota. There, it's really precise on what kind of underrepresented community are aimed, and what kind of things the Oscars want behind and in front of the camera, so that the film can be at the can try to get an Oscar. So yeah, I think that's
So yeah, it was. Sorry, what were you about to say?
no. You can go. I think that's complicated. I think
Yeah,
that's complicated.
same here. I think it's a step forward, and they take a step back at the same time. Surprisingly, it's good, but I feel like there are a lot of gray. Actually, there aren't many gray areas because they're really specific. Apparently, they were really basing themselves off the BFI, the British Film Institute, which I think has the same requirements now, but I'm not sure. So I don't know if it's a true and tested way of doing things, but it was definitely something that I think we had coming every year. The hashtag on Twitter, hashtags Oscars so white, stuff like that. And now actually we've seen, like, I don't know if you hang around Twitter too much.
No, not
Probably
that
shouldn't,
much,
but
no.
it's now there was a new hashtag that actually popped up, which was Oscars so right, actually. So apparently there's quite a bit of I've seen positives said about this. I've also seen talk shows saying that yes, it's actually a good thing, and other talk shows saying that they don't really see how it would work that well. I think, and I think maybe deep down behind this, there is exactly that to motivate this for the Oscars. Did they do this because they are convinced that it's good, or just to, shut up people about it, Like they're fed up with the Oscars so white, so they're just, okay, you know what? You want inclusion? Let's have it. Quotas. Okay, numbers. No one can disprove that.
Could be that.
It's fair all across the board. Okay. Is it a PR tactic, or
Yeah,
is
it could be
is it
that.
actually aimed to do the good work, which is including more people?
Knowing the Oscars, it could be that. It's just that
Yeah, it's
just
convoluted.
that Well, that's really interesting because we can talk about what I feel about the Oscar right now, which is I don't really give a damn about Oscars anymore, in a
Yeah.
way, even though it's
Yeah,
still one of,
maybe
you
maybe
know,
that's also about that. A lot of people don't give a f about the Oscars anymore. So maybe like,
yeah.
oh, if we do that, maybe we're gonna be all woke
Mm.
and stuff. So maybe people are gonna like it. I don't know.
Ah.
I don't know. I don't know how I see that. But let's, for the sake of the Oscars, I'm sorry. Let's say that they did it in a
In a
actually good
actually
way.
positive way.
Yeah, in a positive way, as if they were really looking for something
No, but
positive to
it's
emerge.
I think they are really being honest. That's what I said with the path they are on the past couple of years. Really, I think they're really being honest. It's just that they are kind of a bit, yeah. How can I say that? Um,
They're being pushed.
yeah, maybe they are being pushed in a way, but yeah, they are not really. They are still not really perfect, but no one can be perfect. So that's
Nothing.
still a good step forward. But yeah, the thing is, I don't really care about Oscars anymore because this is the kind of cinema that I tend to not really like. Uh, the more and more I get old, because I get old. The
Oh
more and
wow.
more I get old, I think I tend to not really like the Oscars because this is the kind of cinema that shows itself like the Cannes Film Festival actually, and that's why I'm really way much more interested in Sundance and the
Yeah.
Thief and
Interesting.
Vancouver.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see if actually those festival that you named, Teeth, Sundance. You named Sundance, right? Or South by Southwest. I don't know which one
No,
you named, but
Sundance. It's the Sundance Film
yeah,
Festival.
it would be
It was
interesting to
South by
see if,
Southwest first, but now it's Sundance.
yeah, and Tribeca actually, whatever.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to see if those those film festivals were actually kind of pioneering what the Oscars are doing right now.
Yeah, in
It
a
would be
way, but
interesting
they
to see
don't
that.
really. I mean, for Sundance, because I know more about Sundance than the others. I think I know Sundance doesn't really have those kind of rules because they don't really need it because there are already a lot of movies that are inclusive in Sundance
Yeah,
because of the independent, independent style and things. They are always
yeah,
subject about those kind of issues.
absolutely, yeah.
So they don't
So,
really need rules. It's Oscars that need rules because in Oscars you can have blockbusters that are competing to get prizes. So and there are a lot of blockbusters that aren't inclusive at all. So that's why they need
absolutely, yeah.
rules now because they have they have sorry they have a power in the industry that touches the big production companies, and that's why it's still really important that they do that because I think even though it's not perfect, in this way big companies will start to get really aware of what they need to do to make I would say make the world a better place, but more the cinema industry a better place
A more
for
inclusive place.
communities, for all
Yeah,
communities.
which doesn't mean necessarily it's gonna be better movies, of course.
No, 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 no.
But maybe just the same movies with more inclusion in it. You said you said the word rule previously. You said those
Yeah.
new rules. Is that how you feel like it is? New
Yeah,
rules,
I feel like
new.
those are rules. I feel, yeah. I feel like those are rules now.
Okay, because last time, I don't want to draw comparison between this and some other things, but last time we imposed on filmmaker rules, it was the code A's, the Hays Code. So, and I don't, and Technically, the Hays Code was basically a bigoted, extremely bigoted listing of rules that prevented filmmakers from expressing themselves. And I couldn't. Sometimes I think about the Hays Code when I read those rules, but I don't think it's the same thing. Of course, it's much different. This is clearly made in a way to be more positive, more good, more good-willed, if you want. The Code Ace was really was mostly a representation or a projection of bigotry inside of the cinema sphere. And those rules actually were so easily bent by creative and very talented filmmakers.
Exactly, and I like you. I like your style. You compare the actual Oscars with the Code A's. That's kind of edgy.
Yeah, no, it's the comparison doesn't stand in the end, of course. But
No,
it's,
because
it's something that I
because
thought
two different
about,
things.
you know.
Yeah, it's two different things, but it's still no. But you're right. I think it's still something that we need to. Yeah. No, it's still something that we need to look for. You're right by comparing to that to the Code
Do you think
A's.
it's gonna limit filmmakers in a way?
I don't think so because that's not what they are. That's not what the Oscars meant, and that's not what the people that are fighting for inclusivity meant. Because it's more that if the filmmakers feel like they are limited because of that, it's because they still uh, talk about stories over and over again and same stories, and they don't want to to tell new things about new communities and new
communities and new
characters
people.
and new type of characters.
Yeah,
So
I'm going
in
to
a way,
elaborate on that because I think you said something really interesting, which is new stories. Because, so just to do a quick roundabout, some standards, in some standards, to be eligible to get some of the standards correctly checked, you have to have, for example, at least one of your lead actors or a significant supporting actors to be from an underrepresented racial or ethnic group, which we listed previously, Asian, Hispanic, Black, blah, 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 Middle Eastern, or a general ensemble cast that is at least one of the secondary or minor roles. So that is also obviously including the previously said racial or ethnic group, but also women, which also in Britain, so at least 30% could be women, racial or ethnic group, LGBT plus, and people with cognitive or physical disabilities, or who are deaf or hard of hearing, to say the complete sentence. So this is just to do a quick follow-up on standard A. Standard B has to do more with the behind the camera. If I read it correctly, it has to be with the production crew. They have to be the same, basically, women, racial, ethnic group, LGBTQ plus, and this includes, of course, everything from casting director to hairstylist, director, of course, and then you have other standards that center more on the production company too, and on the audience development. It's very complex, but to go back to what you were saying, you said new that stories. Maybe it could encourage people to look for new stories. And although I don't think new stories are really a thing, I'm always thinking about if that's what they're looking for. Are they looking for maybe to have more stories made about, I don't know, maybe the African continent, which is a continent with so many interesting stories to tell, and actually a very beautiful continent too. So maybe that's what they're looking for.
Yeah. That's interesting that you thought about because that's kind of what that's what I mean with all the things about news stories, because in a way we don't really tell news stories because everything has been told already. But even if you tell a story that is similar to another past stories, if you change the protagonist in it and you adapt it with new social issues and all that, for me it becomes a new story in a way, even though it's even though it's like the same scheme and the same, yeah, the same issues that are, if what is important is, yeah, I think what is important is the how you use the past things that we've learned in storytellings and things, and you adapt it to the new issues and the new important topics that we need to talk about. And I hope that those standards will encourage filmmakers to do so, even though they don't really have to if they don't want to, and they can still
Yeah.
meet. They need
Exactly.
what, 2 or 4 standards? Yeah, they need 2 or 4 standards, and they can still meet 2 or 4 of those standards.
But yeah, because what I'm thinking is why yet another movie about World War II or Lincoln or those characters? Maybe that's also what they're trying to sort of push, which is also to go look for other people in other continents that have that also happen to have incredible stories, and maybe that's what they're trying to push to. That
Exactly.
we look for those other characters maybe to put on the big screen. In the end, I think this is one way of doing it. It's probably not the best. I think it's interesting to see. Like, I don't think this may not have this impact eventually. Okay. If you want more movies to be done in Africa about, for example, an African full cast, full character, or anything, if you want to talk about the stories of, I don't know, Asia, maybe the best way to do this would be to encourage this via, I don't know, it's very French because we have this a lot, but like a fund, have a fund for filmmakers who want to tell those stories so that they're encouraged to do it in a
and
good way,
maybe-
other than just quotas,
Yeah, and maybe open the Oscars to more other countries' filmmakers, because I think it was last year that we had Parasite on the Oscars
Exactly,
that win the
yes.
Best Pictures, but
Yeah,
it was
and best foreign film actually, right? If I remember
yes,
correctly. So that's
but-
the two of them. I did not even know it was possible, and yet.
yeah, but it was kind of difficult for Parasite to get to the Oscars without just being a foreign movie in the category.
foreign
It
film.
was I don't remember the real name of this category. It's just foreign.
Yeah,
foreign
it's
movies.
best foreign pictures,
Best foreign
something
pictures.
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
But they
I think.
I don't remember why they got to the Best Pictures competitions.
I don't know.
It's because of the production companies, I think.
Probably there was I don't know, maybe one of the production company was from the US. I don't know how they go
Yeah.
around this. Again, this is the Oscars. Apparently you
And
can go around pretty easily. So they do this then, and I'm like, okay, so
Yeah.
are people going to be able to go around it? Hollywood historically has a way of working around numbers that is actually quite terrifying. They use accounting tricks, to make box office bombs profitable for them. So,
Yeah.
I mean, when you can do that with numbers and then you do this, I'm like, yes, this is numbers, but don't you think people are going to be able to go around it super easily,
Yeah.
as so many people do, so many companies do? It's always like this, and there are also a lot of categories. Like I'm not LGBT, but in the secondary and minor roles, for example, LGBTQ plus is listed, and then we of course think about, is it going to be a thing that you're going to have to put on your resume now? Is it something that you're going to have to go public with?
Yeah. Oh my
because
god!
it's not
if
written
that,
on your
it's going to
face.
be fucking weird.
It's not written on your face, obviously.
Yeah.
Not like your ethnic group, and even sometimes.
Yeah.
but
Imagine you are in an interview and like the film producer asks, "So are you gay or trans?"
Yeah, it's
Yeah, that would
see,
be
that's
kind of
it's
weird.
exactly that. Is it gonna be a thing you put on your resume?
Are
And
you
I don't know
black?
what you're.
Dude.
I'm mixed race.
Yeah, that
No,
could be
it's
really, really weird in a way. Yeah, you're totally right.
it's I don't know how this specific part is gonna work. I don't know.
I
I
don't
don't
know
know if you
either.
have a
I don't
I
know
don't know if
either.
you have a view on that, but it's
Yeah, now that we talk about it, I feel like it's kind of weird. At least for the standards about the behind the camera, like the creative leadership, project team, industry access and opportunities, things like that. Um, yeah, yeah, that in a way that's going to be kind of weird, at least for the LGBTQ plus community, because for the women, racial, ethnic group, uh, it's it's a bit easier to do it because you can know that a person is a part of this community because of how they look, obviously. But and even though sometimes it's hard,
yeah, it's not
it's
always
not always
as
the
apparent as
case. Yeah,
it's.
it's not always the case. So yeah, yeah, but I feel like that's something I've already thought about with the way United States are handling the diversity issues. You know, it's something. Yeah, I don't really know how to. I don't really know what to think about that because in a way I'm like, yeah, it's kind of weird to have to, in a way, put on your resume that you're LGBTQ plus or
Yeah, can you?
you're
Yeah, can you?
a
I don't know
racial
how it's gonna
ethnic
work.
group.
Maybe it's gonna be like something like it gets known around that you're LGBT
Yeah,
because everything obviously everyone's in a circle. But if you want to apply like for the internship, that they're leadership. No, wait. There were talks about a.
yeah, but you know there are
Yeah, paid apprenticeship and internship
yeah
opportunities.
internship.
So when you apply, what do? You do like name, surname,
Yeah.
number, mail address, and then I'm bisexual or I'm trans.
And that's and in a way that's kind of outing people without their consent if you really go if you
Exactly.
really go
Yeah, that's
extreme.
also what I was thinking about, and I saw a lot of discussion about that online. It doesn't come from me, but people are like, "What if you don't wanna go public, or you just don't wanna say, or
Yes.
everybody has his own reasons, you know."
And but you
I don't
still
know.
yeah.
You're probably gonna have a much more interesting take on this, but
Yeah,
like,
in a
is
way,
it?
because
Do
the
we want to
subject
force
of
that?
the subject of forcing people to at least for the LGBT community, the subject of outing people without their consent is really touchy, and in a way, those kind of standards are mean that in a way people are try to know if you are trans, bi, whatever, intersex, whatever, without your consent, just to have a chance to go to the Oscars, and that's really
Yeah,
weird
to have
because I'm
those
sure.
opportunities. Yeah.
I'm 100% sure that there are a lot of people out there that don't want to be outed in their workspace, but they still want to work in the cinema industry.
Yeah, of course.
So I hope it won't go extreme, like in a kind of hunt for for diversity. You know, like we are
Yeah,
going to
exactly.
hunt for people that are from underrepresented communities in our teams and things like that. I hope it won't go with that like that.
No, but you're
But
absolutely
yeah,
correct. I think the. I mean, obviously, those are those quotas don't mean that everybody has to be from an ethnicity or a group with lower representation, of course. But yeah, still, I mean, if you're LGBTQ plus and you want to work in the film industry, obviously you're not forced to put on your applications that
yeah, you don't have to if
you are
you don't
gay
want
or
to.
lesbian or whatever. But it could technically it's a great advantage if you do, right?
In a way, yes.
So
In a way, yes.
it's like we're not forcing you, but if you do, I mean, that's kind of good, you know.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a forcing hand. I don't know.
In a way,
I
that's
don't know
forcing. Yeah, in a way,
how
that's
it's.
forcing, and that's why. But to go the other way around, what is really interesting is all the standard B and C that are about the cast and crews, because those kind of problems were like. Do you remember this film called, and be ready for that beautiful French accent, but do you remember La Vie d'Adèle?
Yes, it's
And
called blue is the warmest color in English.
yeah, the comic book was called that, and maybe in English they called that the same way.
Yeah, the film is called like that in England.
Okay, because in French,
In English,
okay,
it's
in
blue
France
is
we
the
had
warmest
La Vie
color.
d'Adèle. In France we had La Vie d'Adèle, and the problem with this movie that I really dislike is that obviously the subject is about lesbians, but the cast and crews weren't aware at all about really the real issues about the underrepresentation of lesbians, and especially the director. So in a way, to go the on the other way around that of what we were talking about, the fact that you have to meet at least two of the four standards that the Oscars are proposing, in a way.
Actually, it's not even a proposition.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
more enforcing, actually.
Enforcing, right? Exactly. At least you will have to have some of your crews. No, you can have the standard A, which is about on-screen representation, and the standard B is D, that is which is about audience development. So you can, you can dodge the B and the C about the cast and crews in a way,
Yeah.
but what I mean is that if you have an on-screen representation of diversity, that doesn't mean you have it on the cast and crew, and that's one of the most important parts, because on-screen representations are important, but if
I
that
think
doesn't make any changes on the behind the camera worlds, that's not going to be really relevant.
Yeah, I think this is really what it's standard A, as in the first one. I think it's what they're really trying to spearhead is the idea of having more on-screen representation, and behind the camera. After all, the industry, it's sad to say, but it's almost like people don't care about inclusion if it's not in front or behind the camera. Everywhere else doesn't matter as long as the 30% of your crew is I don't know, women or LGBTQ plus, which is kind of sad. It should also be about everything else in the industry.
Today, having women or racial or ethnic group in your, maybe not creative leadership, but at least in the standard C industry access, like in internship or things, it's really easy. So
obviously,
if some crews are going to have like 4 women in internship, and they're going to be like, yeah, we are so diverse.
Yeah. This is kind of pulling it the other way around, I think.
Yeah, I know.
But you're right. Yeah, sure, because
no, I'm being extreme right
obviously
now. But
certain films won't be able to go through with A and standard A and B, so they're going to have to push through if they want to go to the Oscars. Again, it's not something that every film has to do. It's just if you want an Oscar. So standard C and D is probably going to be what they're going to push through.
Yeah.
So apprenticeship and internship and training opportunities and skill development are probably going to be more centered around. You're going to have a lot more chance of getting those if you are one of the groups that they're listing.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. It kind of goes both way, honestly.
Yeah.
It's actually really really deep and pretty nuanced actually when it comes to a subject. we'll see. We'll see what it does. Honestly.
Yeah, at least for me, it's still a good step forward. It's still a good step forward. It's still going to be interesting because I have faith. I still have a little faith in humanity, and I think there are some crews that will be like, okay, we'll try to get those standards and we'll try to do it the right way. I'm sure, but there's going to be, as always, there's going to be bad things and like
Yeah, workarounds.
exactly.
There are probably going to be like scandals, as in, they're
leaks.
eligible, but when you look behind and you do the math, it doesn't really add up, and it's possible. I think things like that are bound to happen because people will be people, I guess.
Yeah.
It's also I always see the worst, and I always assume the worst, but how easy it is to lie on a resume,
Yeah.
say that you're LGBTQ.
Yeah, and
when you're not, are they gonna check? No, obviously
yeah, well,
not.
you have to prove that you're gay or trans. I mean,
Yeah. So you're gay? All right, kiss that man.
Oh
No,
shit!
just don't do that. Like they're not. Do you have to prove it? Like, okay, so here's a picture of me kissing my boyfriend,
Yeah, well, this is my boyfriend. Can you certify you are my boyfriend? Yeah, I certify you.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, this is. I mean, I know this is really like nitpicking in a way, but do we, now it's obviously things that may happen.
Yeah, obviously, and
Yeah, no,
and
it's,
also the fact that, in a way, I'm being really picky on that.
Go
But I
ahead.
think that's important. But the fact that the Oscars are being really specific with those standards, and they are talking about a lot of underrepresented groups, so women, racial or ethnic group, LGBTQ plus, and people with cognitive or physical disabilities and stuff. In a way, I'm afraid that people in production companies are going to hire people from those underrepresented group, but always the same one. What I mean is that there's something I hate in the LGBTQ plus communities, and it's when people are comparing how much we are underrepresented, but under the LGBTQ plus, like some people are debating about whether or not it's gay that are more represented than trans or lesbians or intersex or
Okay.
things, and I'm like, stop doing that. We don't have to be we don't have to be separated in our own community. So,
Yeah.
and in a way,
Even
what I'm
divisions.
afraid of is that the production companies are only going to hire, I mean, I'm going to say it like that, but are only going to hire gays, and they will fit the standards, but even though it won't be really relevant because there will still be a lot of people, even women, even racial or ethnic group, that still won't be involved in the process.
Yes.
So even though they are really being really specific, even though it's not specific enough, or maybe it's too much, I don't know. I'm really being picky, and I feel like I'm not really the best person to be to talk about that. Maybe I would need to study more about those kind of subjects sometimes. But even though that's what I fear in a way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the fact that it will.
Also-
I think it will be interesting to ask about some persons that are high on a high level in production companies. I think like big producers or persons like that, and to ask what they think about that. I think it will be really interesting.
I know it's easy to say. I know it's super easy to say. It's, but I think it still has meaning. It's that, do people want to be hired because they are one of the for an Oscar film, because they are a part of those things we listed, those minorities we listed, or because they're talented and they're good at what they do, and they are. So
Yeah.
is it really how things should work? Now, the obvious counterpart to this is, well, at least they're getting hired.
Yeah,
and this
at least
wasn't happening
that's what I was
before.
about to say.
At least they're getting hired. And I'm okay with that. I think it's a good answer. But I'm like, okay, at least you're getting hired. But
But that
like,
doesn't mean that
there-
the problem is fixed.
obviously, yes, absolutely. And I mean, there are countless there are a lot of course, one in those minorities, I could list a number of people who were hired despite their skin color or their sexuality or their gender, but because they were they were damn good at what they do and they fit the role they had to fill in the film, and that's what mattered.
Yeah.
So also, it's not coming from me, but I think it would be a nice thing to also address, is that Hollywood, in the landscape of ideas in the US, has always been very liberal, very left,
Yeah.
and they've always
Yeah.
Hollywood has always been this, pushing for this woke attitude, and having it enforced even more. It's like forcing the woke to be even woker, or the liberal to be even more liberal. And I don't know if this isn't like beating around the bush or things like that, because the inclusion is something that we saw through the years actually moving forward and forward and forward, right? It's something that Hollywood was kind of looking for in a way, even without this.
Yeah.
Progress was made without this. Will
think-
progress be made with this?
Yeah, I think. But even though those kind of decisions will get the progress even further, maybe, I don't know if it'll go faster than the usual. I don't know. We can't really know, and we'll have to wait for 2024.
Yeah, I guess. Did you pay? No, you said you didn't like the Oscars, but did you pay attention to the last Oscars? The last
No,
ceremony?
but it's not. The fact that I don't really like them anymore doesn't mean that I don't get interested to them.
Yeah. Did you feel when you watched the Oscars that there was some lack? There was a
I
lack
didn't
of
watch them
representation?
entirely, actually, so I won't be really precise on that. But yeah, go on. Sorry.
I was okay, because I was wondering, do you think did you feel like there was a lack of representation of said groups inside of this the last ceremony?
Well, the fact that Parasites won was a big deal about
Yeah,
that.
but winning is different.
Really
I
big
meant in
deal.
a general way.
In a general way, I
Yeah.
feel like there's still a lack of representation. The fact that Parasite won was really like even shocking in a way. I was like, okay, that's Parasite that won. But I mean, now it's not really shocking now that I know that a lot of persons have enjoyed Parasite so much, and I
Yes.
really love this movie, but I don't consider it as the best from Bong Joon-ho. But that's
Obviously,
kind of
but-
that's my unpopular opinion about Parasite.
But
I really like it. It's an amazing movie. But even though, to go forward on your question, I think there was still kind of a lack of representation still. If I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, but I felt like the other movies that were in competition for the Oscars were not really diverse that much. I remember there were the last film from James Mangold. Don't remember the name of this film. Let me.
It was the 92nd Academy Awards ceremony, and
6 and and Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah. Ferrari.
Ferrari.
It's true that if you look at the lineup of the winners, it's really white.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it. It's really white.
Let me see that. So, Oscars 2019. Let me see what we had.
Renée Zellweger, Best Actress, Bong Joon-ho, and Joaquin Phoenix, Laura Dern, Brad Pitt. It's really white.
Yeah, if you look at the other nominees, I mean, there's still a big lack of representations. And to be really honest with you, they're in the best. I just take the best picture right now. But maybe I should. Yeah, that's kind of the same thing for best director. But if you look at the list for best picture, you even have Joker from Todd Phillips. And I mean, that's really a movie that I enjoyed. And we saw it together, actually. Joker is really, I really enjoyed it, but even though Joker is it's the total opposite of the standards that the Oscars are trying to enforce now, because Joker really doesn't speak about mental disease in a right way, even though that's the Joker and things. But I saw a lot of people online that were really talking about the fact that Joker is again another film that depicts mental disease as dangerous for the society, even though it's way more dangerous for the people that are experiencing those kind of disease than for the society. And for the other films, we have The Irishman from Martin Scorsese, which is just, I mean,
After all, the bigger discussion is always that, should we? It's always been like that. Should we reward quality overall? And quality is colorblind technically, and gender blind and whatever. And
technically, yes.
Of course. But there's been more and more discussion nowadays about it's more than that. The Oscars are of course more than that, more than just rewarding that. It's also the guarantee of money basically for the film crews. It's a guarantee that your film's going to work also in cinemas. So obviously it's a big deal, and this is why it's important also to have like different I guess more inclusion in there too.
Yeah.
So I guess this is where they're pushing this. We'll see how it ends. We'll see who gets the last laugh, actually.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, there's this issue about diversity in movies, but there's also, now that I look at the list of the Oscars, of the 2020's Oscars, I mean, there's also the problem of having every time the same people. We have Martin Scorsese, Quentin Tarantino,
That's true.
DiCaprio, Banderas, Brad Pitt, Tom Hanks, Anthony Hopkins. I mean,
Roger Deakins, everyone.
always the same. Those are, I mean, they are really talented persons, but those are persons I saw on the Oscars so many times. I mean, we need to have new.
It's almost like they have a subscription,
people. Yeah.
Subscription to come every year.
We didn't even talk about John Williams.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. And
So-
Steven Spielberg.
So there's obviously this problem of diversity in the Oscars, but what they need to look for is also who they accept as competitors. Even though you can have someone that already won an Oscars that compete for another Oscars, like the year afterward or some years after that, you can totally have that. It's okay, but I think they also have to think about newcomers way more often than what they usually do.
Yes,
think.
but isn't it what South by Southwest and Tribeca are
Exactly.
for?
That's why I prefer Sundance.
Yeah.
and the Toronto International Film Festival, because there are
exactly.
a lot of newcomers and new filmmakers and new
Which are
stories
something
and new
interesting
actors.
to bring.
Yeah.
So I guess so I mean we have to we have to agree that we have to let the Oscars be the Oscars. If they want to have Scorsese on the stage, I mean, it's in a way it's expected almost, you know.
Yeah.
But I guess we shouldn't ask them to be too different, and yet they're trying to be different too. So, but you know, a lot of really sometimes they actually rewarded directors that weren't as well known, like Steve McQueen, which definitely wasn't as big. As well known as Scorsese or Tarantino. But
yeah,
still,
same thing for Bong Joon-ho. Even though he's
absolutely, yeah.
quite known, he's not really that much known. He wasn't really that much known before
No, he's not as
Parasite.
big as his competitors. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. No, you're right. Now,
Yes.
it's also it's a run. They run the big companies. They run their films for the nomination. So whatever the film they push in, if they have the means, you know, it's not going to represent something that big in the end.
And that's actually the subject of the kind of the run to the Oscars. This subject is really well, I will say, captured and
documented
and depicted in BoJack Horseman, which is a really good animated series on Netflix that we've talked about on this channel.
Yes.
There's because the series is talking about the Hollywood world a lot of time. You have some episodes about the Oscars, and you see a lot of problems that are still in place with the way Oscars choose their nominees. So yeah, if you want to see if you want to learn about those things, you can watch BoJack Horseman. It's an amazing show. And also,
this is why the Weinstein have so many of their films in the Oscars, because they used to push them like a goddamn presidential runner-up.
yeah,
like
exactly. That's the same thing. That's exactly the same thing.
They go campaigning, basically.
Yeah, they
for their
really
film.
go campaigning. That's even an ad campaign sometimes to get to the Oscars. So yeah, well, I mean, USAs are kind of weird about those kind of subjects, because even presidential campaigns are kind of ad campaigns.
Yes,
but
well, it's different, but the
it's
Oscars
different.
are
It's
inherently
different.
American,
Obviously,
so.
But you have some similarities that are weird sometimes for me. But yes, yeah, and what I was about to say is that you have what I don't really know why. Well, I know why it makes me think about that, but what I would hope is that, I don't know if they are in the Academy, but I don't think so. But I would love to see another movies from the Wachowskis on the Oscars, because talking about diversities, I mean, they are the queen of diversity. I'm sorry, but
true, they kind of check many boxes too.
yeah,
So.
yeah. With Sense8, actually, I think they checked all the boxes of all the standards of the Oscars.
Yes, absolutely.
So
I think they. I mean. I think Sense8 is actually the most inclusive, because it takes place around the world. So
yeah,
you have everything.
Yeah, but that's
every continent.
That's one of their most inclusive creations. But even their creations even their films and series that they did before that were really inclusive. If you see the Matrix, I mean, so you don't have you don't have LGBT plus in the Matrix, but it was a little bit too early for them, I think. Even though they talked about lesbians in their previous movies before the Matrix, that was called Bound.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, Bound.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right.
So I would
Expound.
love to at least I would love the Wachowskis to be on the Oscars again, even though they
At least
aren't.
on the ceremony, you know.
Yeah, well, exactly. At least on the ceremony, or to be a part of the Academy. I mean, I think those women, they really, they could they could change the Oscar. I think really. In a better way, I think, and even with those new standards and things, I think they would have had interesting point of views about that, and I think they could really lead all those things in a good way. Even though it's not just them, it's about thousand and thousand of people that needs to be involved in this process, but think-
Yeah, absolutely.
they could be the leaders of that in a way. But they aren't really making a lot of movies anymore, so that's kind of sad.
Yes, I mean, there's that Matrix. I don't know. Is
And
it a
Matrix
spin-off
sequel,
remake?
prequel, remake, I don't really know.
Okay. Well, maybe
I don't really
we
know.
will see that happening. So
Yeah, I
Looking
think it's
forward
going
to
to
it.
be Will Smith in it.
we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. I was kind of done with the Matrix. I don't really want another. I don't really want another instance of Matrix, but
Yes, but sadly enough, I think this is the only way they're getting.
Yeah, they can get to
a
to
new
Hollywood
film,
again, maybe.
since the last two or three were kind of failed.
Yeah,
So outside of Sense8, of course,
Yeah.
who was kind of more of a success. This one.
yeah. Well, we
But,
are going to have to end this podcast because we are about to reach an hour long.
The 1 hour
We've talked
mark.
about the Oscars an hour long.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is a big.
Yeah, that's
this
a
is
big deal.
This is
That's a
big.
big,
This
big
is
deal.
this is literally big, and I can't wait to see what's gonna come out of it. Hopefully, the good stuff. And not the
Hopefully,
bad.
yeah. Hopefully,
I think it's safe to accept both. Huh?
yeah.
Let's be neutral on this.
Yeah, exactly. No, but yeah, I'm looking forward for the good stuff about that, and I'm sure there will be really good step forwards with this. Let's have hope, and we'll see. We'll
True.
see.
We
We'll have
listed
to
the-
hate for 2024 actually. So
Yeah,
Will
we
be-
listed the limitations, also the obvious limitation that is had. Also, I think 2022 and 2023 have some consideration towards this, but they're not being held strictly to this until 2024. So
yeah,
I guess
yeah,
see
exactly.
you in 2022, Oscar team. Let's see what you have for us.
Yeah, and you know what? If you agree to this, for the 2 minutes that remains on my timer for the recording session, what about we do some really quick recommendations on about what we saw those past couple of weeks?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah.
But you're gonna
well,
blow
for
that
me,
mark. Way.
What? Sorry.
No way. That 1 hour mark is gonna get blown, but sure. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Shoot.
but that's not that bad. For me, I saw the New Mutants
Okay.
in theater, the new X-Men movies, the new X-Men movie, which was really, really good. There are some problems in it.
Is it
obviously.
really horrific, or is it more like
But
a
it's more
blockbuster with
it's
horrific
more
elements?
horror. It's more horror oriented than the previous X-Men movies, even though it's not a big horror movie. It's
it's
not
not a
really
horror
that
film.
frightening, actually. Especially for me, that is especially for me that is a really big fan of horror movies. But yeah, this is a really interesting movie about how they talk about the X-Men's, how they talk about diversity in a way, because in the New Mutants, if you'll see that there are some subject about that in it, and obviously the X-Men has always been about the subject of diversity and discrimination in things. But the way they are talking about it in the New Mutants is really interesting and new. The filmmaking is really interesting. My neighbor is hammering on top of me. I'm sorry. I hope you don't hear that.
Barely.
And
He's yelling about
so
the mark.
really interesting movie. Really interesting movie. You should look for it if you want to see some new way of talking about the X-Men and superheroes and diversity and things. It's really cool.
Never been that
And-
big on the X-Men, but they're cool.
Yeah, this
They're
is
cool
really
movies usually.
that was I really enjoyed it. And from the director of what's this movie called, and from the director of the 14-Hour Stars, it's like really I don't know.
From the
Yeah,
directors
surprising.
of what you said?
It's really surprising. The 14-Hour Stars, Nos Étoiles Contraires.
Oh yeah, okay. The
From director of that, it's really surprising how he handled pretty well the X-Men.
the Switch.
Yeah, the
Well, on
switch,
my
exactly.
end, I saw very recently. I saw Winterberg's last film, Drunk. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
No.
It's really good. I really enjoyed it thoroughly. It's about alcohol and alcohol consumption
Obviously.
and its application to our social abilities. It's really fun. It's a fun film, really good with lots of it just like alcohol. It has ups and downs. There's the good stuff and the bad stuff, the very bad.
Okay.
It's great. I highly recommend it.
Cool. Perfect. Well, let's wrap it up. Thank you, Leo.
Let's wrap
Thank you
it up.
very much.
Yeah, thank you too.
Let's talk again later. When you
Next
will hear
podcast.
that, we haven't released the first episode of the podcast, but it will be released tonight. And we are Tuesday the 27th of October.
Alrighty.
But if you have suggestions, again, you can ask, and we'll try to talk about that. Thank you, Leo. And
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. See you next time.